The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
Good morning. Happy hump day. You're listening to Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPNTucson.com, and the ESPN Tucson mobile app. We're also on a lot of podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and comment, and also YouTube. We're trying out this YouTube thing.
Yeah, and coming soon, because I'm putting it into existence on Instagram and TikTok. There.
Yeah.
I just said it.
TikTok,
so
huh?
now it needs to happen.
Damn
and we
it.
got a guy in our studio here that is a TikTok phenomenon.
He is.
His name is Andrew Trujillo, and he puts out stuff that I don't always quite understand, but a lot of people like it.
It gets the people going.
It does. I mean, he does Irish accents, and he does stuff with video games. He tries different foods, different hot sauces. The guy's, I mean, when I say world phenomenon, I'm not joking. I mean, he's doing things like trying British recipes and has people from England commenting on how he's doing it wrong and he needs to do it over because he's basically like a Southerner making instant grits instead of real grits.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
There.
I mean,
promoted
you're not wrong.
So we're creating that.
Yeah.
Having tuna with a baked potato, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like
And
that.
beans.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It was really good.
And so why were you doing it wrong before we talk about all the things happening in the world of sports?
Most of the people said I cooked the potato wrong and that I made the tuna mixture wrong, which I guess I did. But, you know.
What was wrong about it?
I did it quick and I didn't.
He cut the process
instant
from
grits.
90 minutes to 30 minutes.
Instant grits.
That's
Yeah.
why I said instant grits.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
no
didn't
self-respecting Southerner eats instant grits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't consult with the ancestors.
Yeah.
So
So you can't be a Brit unless you take 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Or don't brush your teeth. So it was one of those two things.
There's
Was
not
it
a single dentist on that entire island.
my cousin Vinny or my uncle Vinny?
My cousin Vinny.
My cousin Vinny?
Uncle Vinny.
My
I mean, he's like Uncle Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Uncle Vinny is Uncle Rico's worst enemy.
And his girlfriend was Melissa Torme, which, you know, Joe Pesci, I like him a lot, but that's one of those couples you're like, dude, how are you rich? How did you get her as a girlfriend?
Make a wish.
Yeah.
Make a wish. All right. We are presented by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Spears and Ali, we got a great show for you guys planned for this Hump Day episode. We're going to be talking a lot of Arizona basketball, NCAA tournament basketball, and March Madness. We're going to hear from our guy Saul Bookman coming up at 8:25, and then Michael Lev, senior writer and columnist for the Arizona Daily Star. He will be joining us at 8:40 to talk about Arizona baseball. Man, they're on a roll right now.
Yeah, man.
They just beat Kansas last night at High Corbett Field. That's now 9 straight games.
9-0 at home on their homestand. And the pitching's been excellent for the most part. So U of A baseball is certainly rolling. You know, something my brothers talk about. You know that alternative uniform that the baseball team wears? That
The baby blue,
yeah.
little Ole Miss.
How would you feel if that was the alternative uniform for Arizona men's basketball?
Baby blue jerseys.
With red.
See, I don't know, just because of I guess that color being affiliated with programs like UCLA,
That's powder blue, though.
a very light blue.
It's different blue, man.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Ole Miss, okay, St. Louis Cardinals, okay, I get it, but it's a sexy uniform, man.
I agree.
I really like
I
it.
wholeheartily agree.
And I mean, if you're going to do an alternative uniform for Arizona, I mean, is the answer right in front of our faces with baseball?
Yeah. And honestly, with the whole Arizona connection, the turquoise-ish color, I think it could work. Yeah, you know what? I take back what I said.
I thought you'd be more excited because
No,
you're like a uniform guy.
Yeah,
like
I'm a uniform snob.
I mean, you went so much into uniforms a couple of years ago that Dave Hickey, the former athletic director, called me and said, "Hey, what's up with Justin always talking about the new uniforms?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, I wasn't even on the show.
Because this was pre the late 90s, early 2000s uniforms that they brought back that they often wear, like the white uniforms with the red trim or the navy blue uniforms with the red trim. That is, to me, the look of Arizona basketball. And when they brought in the current rendition of the jerseys, it just wasn't a good look for me.
You need
It
to
just look very cookie cutter.
You need to go.
gradient?
You need to go with a baseline.
Not
right?
the gradient, the ones after that.
Yeah, I don't like the gradient. You need to say we wear the 88 whites, we wear the 97 blues, or we wear the 2001 reds. Like those are the three baseline uniforms.
Yeah.
And then you can throw in like, oh, we've got like a special alternative uniform.
Yeah.
And I'm just suggesting maybe the one that Arizona baseball wears, which is the baby blue and red, would be kind of a cool mix-up. Okay, and I'm done.
Light blue with red jersey numbers and red font.
Yeah, I mean, we got a new
interesting.
We signed a new deal with Nike, and I'm hoping part of that new deal that goes through like 2031. And it's a great deal for Arizona basketball, and it makes us we're the highest revenue receiving team in the Big 12 when it comes to our uniform affiliation now with Nike. So that's going to help athletics. Just maybe there's with that comes some kind of tweaks on the uniforms, and one tweak again, baseline 88 whites, 97 blues, 2001 reds. That's our baseline. We just need one, and maybe it's the one I just suggested.
I like it. Arizona basketball back in the Sean Miller era, they had a lot of jerseys that they didn't even wear. Like they had actually black jerseys with like a pink font for breast cancer awareness. And they
Wasn't there a gray uniform too?
There was white with copper. Didn't like that one.
Yeah. They had like the McDonald's looking ones that were red with the copper and gold lettering. And I think the last time they wore those, they got smoked by Oregon.
Yeah.
In 2017 or something like that. And
all those got burned.
And then Arizona went through its like awkward phase of like 13 and 14 years old, where football and basketball, we decided to do like rainbow for football and gradient with basketball, which was just terrible. Like we just didn't know who we quite were. We were growing into our body, had these feelings that we don't know what they are.
Smells, new smells.
Yeah, exactly.
New smells.
It's like,
it's not a phase, Mom.
It's a phase. It's a phase, son, and you're gonna get over it. So stop being such a Richard.
All right. So unfortunately, our phones are still down.
Yeah, I don't know. Scott took a look at the unit yesterday. He doesn't know what's wrong with it yet. So
did he just look at the unit? He's like, no, it's not working. I don't know what's going on. And then walk out.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Okay.
So I do apologize because yesterday we actually had a lot of phone callers. So for the people that were trying to call in, we apologize. We will get these phones fixed. So, but
the line is up. So if you want to like drop us a message with Elaine, she can tell us what you want to talk about
for sure.
But yeah, we're not going to be able to get you on because our unit's busted in here for some reason.
And Elaine's just a better person to talk to.
Smells like root beer.
It smells like root beer.
Wasn't me.
So yeah, 719-1490 is the phone number
right now.
Diet root beer is the best.
719-1490. I agree.
Yeah.
Can't taste the difference.
Nope.
All right. So NCAA tournament. ESPN Tucson is your home of March Madness coverage this March, and we saw some playing games yesterday.
Man,
very interesting
did the
games.
Tournament start with a bang or what?
Alabama State.
You guys want to hear like the most March Madness feeling to start the whole tournament that you can get as a gambler? I will tell you. The answer was yes. You guys were both nodding.
2 for 2 on a parlay?
No. Well, yes. I did go 2 for 2 because I did take North Carolina -3.5 over San Diego State because the Mountain West for teams that are ranked 10 or more are 1-28. So I was like, okay,
woof. I'm
going to take North Carolina State -3.5. But I bet the over-under with Alabama State, St. Francis. You know what my analysis was? I just looked at their last 5 scores. So I'm like, okay, these teams defensive. It's the first game, a lot of stress. I'm right there, right? The game is tied 68-68. Okay. Now let me set up what the over-under was. The over-under is 138.5. 68 and 68 is 136, right?
Nice.
So I'm like, I wasn't watching the game. I was going for a walk. I saw this after the fact. So the game is tied 68-68 with 2 seconds to go in the game. Alabama State. So if it goes to overtime, I lose my bet. And we're talking a $10 bet. Okay. So nothing crazy.
That would break me.
Yeah. $10 bet. And I got a parlay under for that game and -3.5 North Carolina. Alabama State throws a Hail Mary pass with 2 seconds to go. It bounces around. The guy lays it up with 0.7 seconds left. Only way I could have won my bet was that Hail Mary, because if it goes to overtime, there's no way they're only scoring 2 points in overtime. So I'm like, that is unbelievable. I can't wait to tell you guys tomorrow. I won my bet on that. It was 138.5, the over-under. Final score 70-68, which is 138. I won it by 0.5.
Nice.
It's amazing.
You gotta love March Madness. And you also gotta love that you were placing money on the first 4 of all the games.
That's crazy, man.
I'm taking Xavier tonight -3.5.
Crazy work. Oh, yeah.
Against
Your son?
Texas. Yeah, hell yeah. Always bet on my son.
Musketeers
Yeah.
against
Betting on Sean Miller.
Texas.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to this Alabama State game. The big hero for the Hornets, Amar Knox. Listen to this broadcast from last night's game.
Seconds left, and here we go. This is where dreams are made.
They're going for it all.
Simpson, home run play, the deflection.
Oh!
Layup! 0.7 seconds left. Alabama State in front.
And you really gotta hate that if you're St. Francis.
Or if you bet the
I know,
over.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess more if you are playing or root for St. Francis. Yes. I'm sorry. I was very selfish. Just think about how we're betting. But that is like, that is an ultimate bad beat if you bet the over and you're like, I got this, baby. Seriously?
Yep.
Yeah. So now Alabama State gets the honor of going and getting whooped by Auburn.
Yeah, getting sacrificed to the Auburn Tigers.
Man, I'm high on Alabama State to potentially pull off the upset
Against Auburn?
No.
Yeah.
I've been trying to convince myself that there's going to be a 16-1 upset, but the number 1 seeds this year too dominant,
Yeah,
man.
they're too strong, man.
Like I feel bad for Norfolk State. Are they playing against Florida?
Are they, or does Florida get a play-in spot?
I thought it was
Let me see.
Norfolk State, but
my upsets are
probably
really
right.
11-6, 12-5. I mean, I think like the winner of Texas Xavier is going to beat Illinois.
Mhm.
And that's just one of a couple. But we say this every year, and then something happens, and it's like, your mouth is open, and you're like, I can't believe.
Yeah,
Florida just lost to Bishop Sycamore University.
yeah.
And they do. Norfolk is the sacrificial lamb for Florida.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. I like Florida winning it all potentially. I think it was Florida and Houston are in my national championship in my bracket.
Yeah,
Which not really a hot take, 2 number 1 seeds, but
not really. But
Florida.
I can't tell you. I mean, I've got 2 brackets out there, and I've got Florida winning one and Duke the other.
Yeah.
And they're both playing each other in the finals in the same brackets, so they both are in the finals. Florida is just so deep. They're so good. They're so much built like an NBA team because like 4 of the guys on the floor at any given time can stretch you out, can hit the 3, and they're just so good. They got guys that can make shots, and they got guys that can penetrate and kick out or take it to the rim. I mean, I've watched probably more Florida this year than I have in a lot of years. And Florida, I mean, again, I think the 14 teams out of the SEC is a little much, but Florida's really good.
Yeah. Now, speaking of upsets, I've been seeing a lot of national pundits picking the Akron Zips to upset the Arizona Wildcats. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, anything could happen, right? But I mean, if we play smart, which is don't try to match them 3 for 3, just keep taking the ball inside and use our length and our size against them, then I think that we're in good shape. But I'm going to use a stat that your colleague Michael Lev put out yesterday, which is, teams that play that pace and average at least 70 shots or more in a game because they play such a fast pace. Arizona beats them by an average of 30 points a game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I am worried about Akron from the outside. Apparently, they shoot the three really well.
Yeah, they're a really good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
And they play fast. And that's why, I think for Arizona, do you make this a half-court game? Do you pretty much take the style that you had against Houston, play more of a half-court game, and just rely on your bigs the entire night?
I think, when you start changing things up, when you get into tournaments or playoffs, I think you need to focus on what you do well. And this team, what it does well is it gets out and it runs. And it does well when it gets the ball inside and takes it to the rim. So I think it's more focus on what you do well. And then just know that these guys want to shoot threes. And, you got to make them drive in there, and you got to have your big man kind of guarding the post and basically, deterring shots. So I don't know if you want to, I think you're playing into their hands. If you start playing half court and try to be deliberate on offense, because they're still going to play fast on defense, or they're going to still play fast on offense. You just got to lock down on D, man. You got to play that Big 12 style defense and really kind of just get into their shorts. You better know what flavor gum these guys are chewing.
Yeah.
You got to be so close.
In their shorts?
Right in their shorts.
Right in their shorts.
Right in their shorts.
I've been chewing gum wrong, apparently.
But yeah, they're led by guard Nate Johnson. He's averaging 14 points per game this season. I think 5 rebounds and 3.5 assists. So he's a really good ball player. Also, just under 2 steals per game as well. So he's a really good, well-rounded player. I think he's going to be a handful for Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley. But you know what? And we're going to get into more of like the pros and the cons of Arizona basketball, or some of the encouraging signs and red flags with this team going into March. But I think really the one thing that is encouraging for Arizona is guard play. I think is trending in the right direction. Jaden Bradley, I think he can tap into another level going into the NCAA tournament, because last year he was kind of I would say a positive moment, or kind of a shining star in Arizona's issues, right? Because if you look at in the postseason, Jaden Bradley played his ass off. He was getting steals, he was getting blocks. He was such a great defender, and he was a big time contributor for Arizona. So I feel like Jaden Bradley can get back to that, but KJ Lewis trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
And he looks healthy now.
Getting healthy. Yeah.
Caleb Love, well-rounded player, looks completely different than the player than we saw in the month of March. And I understand that having a good front court is everything. But man, guard play is what wins and loses the NCAA tournament. And I think Arizona is in a good spot with that.
I think in a game like this against Akron, guys like Anthony Delorso become important, because I think Anthony Delorso, look, the physicality and the intensity of Houston, with no disrespect to the Akron Zips, they don't have it. Anthony's going to have a little bit more freedom to get his shot off if he's open, like, get it inside, kick it at Anthony Delorso, and he can probably guard the Akron Zips better than he can guard a guy like LJ Cryer from Houston. Fair. Okay, good.
That's pretty fair.
Good. And I think that look, it's what we don't want to see is Arizona go down and like Akron just come out of the gates and it's like, oh, they hit 3 straight threes and timeout Arizona, Akron up 9-0. Like, we don't want to see that. If they're hot from the beginning and we're trying to play catch up the whole time, and then that leads us to, if you want to hear about a con, is that gets us a little desperate and we feel like we need to match their threes. That's going to be a problem. Just need to be consistent, keep pounding that ball inside, and then play tough D. Get back on defense, because they're going to try to push it.
Mm-hmm.
No lollygagging. Because you know what? If you jog down the court on defense, and if you lollygag back down on the court, if you lollygag out of huddles, if you lollygag trying to defend your guy, that makes you a bunch of lollygaggers.
Mm-hmm. And Corey Williams,
Sound logic.
Yeah.
Corey Williams has emphasized this on his podcast with Saul Bookman, the McHale Madness podcast, and also on this show, that you lollygag for a few minutes, that's your season right there.
Yeah.
All those 30 plus games that you played, and then your season can get decided in just those 3 to 4 minutes. So we'll see if Arizona's lollygagging or if they rise up to the challenge. I think they'll rise up to the challenge, but it does get interesting when you got to play Oregon right in their backyard in the Pacific Northwest, and then potentially Duke in New Jersey. But don't want to get too far ahead of myself,
man. I'm just telling you right now, don't be shocked if we're playing Liberty.
Okay.
Don't be shocked.
Okay.
And
which would be a gift for Arizona.
Maybe. I think Liberty is really good.
Yeah.
Liberty's a good basketball team. But the word of the day on Monday was pucker, right? Puckering. And you want to see an entire town, their yin yang, a little pucker. That'd be Tucson, Arizona, if this game was within 5 points with 10 minutes to go.
That's Cats basketball, baby. It will be.
Damn straight. All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali. Yesterday was the first day of school for Arizona football. First day of spring football practice. We'll talk about all the notable takeaways from the opening day of spring ball right here on Spears and Ali. Spears and Ali back here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, the Spears and Ali podcast, and also Spears and Ali YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a follow on YouTube. More video content, Ali.
More video content, and I'm going to just say, Justin, please create the Spears and Ali Instagram account, and Andrew, would you please create a Spears and Ali TikTok account, and then we can post it on all 4 social media platforms, whatever we do, and the content will match what the platform is.
Damn straight, man. Damn
You're
straight.
the master of TikTok, so you are, and you are the master of all else social. Just be prepared. Justin is also kind of like he is a U of A fan. He won't admit it, but he's also kind of a U of A troll. So Friday on his social media platforms, just be prepared for the last time Arizona was a 4 seed was 2019 or whatever it was, 18. And we lost to Buffalo with like a video of us losing to Buffalo.
Wes Clark knocking down a bunch of 3-pointers.
Yeah.
It's the Justin Spears salt shaker, baby.
It's not.
I mean,
that is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we were both cognizant of it. The fact that you continue to deny it, you're going to want to do it on Friday and you're not going to do it, but you're going to be thinking about how do I do something that those guys don't give me guff about.
I mean, shoot, I was thinking about reposting the One Shining Moment Arizona edition, 1997.
All right, okay, we'll go for that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's such bull.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
can't even say it with a straight face.
Yes, I have it on my Twitter account. I resurface it every single March. One Shining Moment, and it's all Arizona. That's all it is.
Okay, so like as you sit here in the circle of trust and honesty, you're gonna tell us that not even 1% of you was thinking maybe I should post the thing about Buffalo.
No.
Liar.
No. now with that being said, we have our March Madness special section that you can pick up with the Arizona Daily Star, and I did write about Arizona's history as a number 4 seed, which involves the loss to Buffalo and Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Which
so you still got it out there.
It also included winning the national championship in 1997. So that's just their history as a number 4 seed. They cut down nets or they lost in the first round.
There were 3 good memories and 2 bad ones.
2 bad memories and 1 good one.
Oh, okay.
But that one good one, that should trump all the other ones because it's so good. They won a national championship. They beat 3 number 1 seeds in the process. That's good stuff, man.
Did you find that article more interesting to write because of the 1 good one or because of the 2 bad ones?
No, because of the 1 good one. Because of the 1 good one.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. You guys think I'm this big troll, but all I do is reports. I just write.
All I want to do is play poker with this guy. It's just like, what do you say, Justin?
Yeah.
I raise.
Yeah. Fold. I'm out.
It was a lot of fun though, going through the history of Arizona as a number 4 seed.
The Spears smirk.
All right, so yesterday was the first day of Arizona spring football. Day 1 officially in the books. Day 2 coming up here on Thursday, and man, it felt very new. Felt like that 4-8 season that Arizona had in year 1 under Brent Brennan was scrubbed. Noah Fafita coming in with a new number, going from number 11 to number 1.
He looks faster,
right?
And taller.
Losing that one, just I don't know.
Everything.
It just gives him an extra glow to his aura. But yeah, Noah Fafita came in looking great. New number looks great, and then lots of other guys changed up their numbers too. And the Wildcats also have a lot of new faces. not just with the players, but with the coaches too. I was looking at their coaching staff yesterday. In terms of just on-field coaching, they got 8 new faces in that building. 8 new on-field coaches. And then you add in 34 newcomers. There's going to be more on the way. They officially signed 53 in the 2025 recruiting class, but they have 34 newcomers at the moment.
How many?
53.
They signed 53 high school kids?
High school, transfer portal,
in total.
Junior college, everything together.
So how many of those 53 are not here now and are coming in the
So they still got, I think, like 19 left. So
okay.
They got junior college guys, all, the rest of the high school guys. There's a few early enrollees right now from the high school level, but yeah, they got 34 out of the 53 currently in Tucson right now for the spring. So they're not even fully loaded. They're going to have more guys coming in next in the summer for preseason training camp. But man, there's a lot of new faces, especially at wide receiver. But the one I think probably the biggest takeaway for me during spring practice, the first day, is just how quick the offense is, how just snappy it was. And we all saw last year, right? You didn't have to be a football savant to understand, okay, what Arizona's doing ain't working. These slow developing plays, heck, just getting out of the huddle,
Buddy,
they were so slow and had no sense of urgency.
It was my number one complaint. Nothing was done with a purpose. I mean, we broke the huddle and guys walked to the line of scrimmage. And I don't know, but me as a coach, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah,
we're not doing anything with a purpose. So when I read your article on kind of things that you saw in the first practice and what you noticed, the speed and purpose in which we are practicing, and how the offense is going to be a lot of no huddle, but just even if we're in huddle, getting to the line, it was just music to my ears, man.
And Noah Fafita said, we worked on no huddle. I can't remember the last time we did no huddle consistently. And Noah Fafita lauded Seth Dagey, the new offense coordinator, for implementing this, because with the new coach to player communication that they, brought in from the NFL, the coaches can be in your ear and tell you plays, and, you're on the same page. And I think it has like 25 seconds or something like that. And
Sure.
It cuts off at the 15-second mark before the snap. But when you have that advantage and you're doing no huddle, what Noah Fafita said is it pretty much eliminates the defensive coordinator. And that now you're on your schedule and you're playing fast and you're really putting the defense on their heels, which was never the case last year. They had slow plays. Like you said, they got out of the huddle very slow. The routes that receivers were running, very long routes, and also like blocking too required like precise execution. And if there was something a little bit off, the whole play would just blow up. So everything about Arizona's offense last year was just confusing. And so they bring in this guy, Seth Dagey, who's a little bit different than the previous guys, because this guy recently played quarterback at the highest level, played at Texas Tech, threw for so many yards at Texas Tech under Mike Leach, and is a young coach that has played the position. He knows exactly what Noah Fafita is going through when he's out there. And the one thing that is so unique about Seth Dagey is that even though he comes from the air raid tree, he adjusts to the personnel that he has. When he was at Marshall last year, they had more rushing yards than passing yards. That doesn't sound like an air raid guy, but he recognized, okay, we have this dual threat quarterback that can use his legs, but we also need to figure out ways to utilize his arm. And they maximize that. They made him an efficient passer. So they play to his strengths. They play to the offensive strengths. And that's why they won the Sun Belt. Now he's coming into a situation at Arizona where he's like, okay, I got this great young quarterback in Noah Fafita that could sling it all over the yard, but how can we maximize his talents? And Noah Fafita said, I'm going to be running the ball a little bit more this year. And if you look at the routes during practice, from what I saw, a lot of shorter routes, a lot of screens, a lot of quick slants, RPO action, getting the ball out of Noah Fafita's hands quickly and on time. And Noah Fafita said way too often last year, I was off schedule. And so day one, Ali, when I heard all these things, I was like, man, I can't wait to talk to Ali about this. He's gonna geek out.
Oh, I'm totally geeked out right now. I mean, we could talk about this for the rest of the show. I mean, the number one thing, look, football has become a game of specialists, and you don't normally see it. Actually, you don't see defenses where they got 11 guys and they play them downs 1 through 3 all the time. They're always coming in and out. And what you need to do as an offense is you need to take advantage of mismatches, and you need to put the defense in conflict. And one of the ways you can put the defense in conflict, like you said, by going no huddle, is not only do you kind of take the defensive coordinator out of it a little bit, but you don't allow the defense to make substitutions. So you got a defensive, whatever, if you've got a mismatches on offense that you can utilize and you're going fast, you're not allowing the defense an opportunity to substitute and bring in guys that if it's 3rd and 6, they want to bring in a nickel corner. Sorry, you got to keep that linebacker in, and our tight end and running back can beat you. So I think that Seth Daigie's not going to be here long from everything I've seen, because he is going to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
And his offensive philosophy is Ollie's offensive philosophy. And I think it's going to be much better for this team. This team is going to be much more successful with moving with alacrity, purpose, taking care of mismatches. And they're going to put defenses in more conflict than we did last year, and just flush down the toilet all the film of Noah Fafita in shotgun, going 15 yards back and just trying to make something happen. Cause it was like backyard football sometimes last year. And we just need to be on schedule, on time, quick throws, get the ball out of his hands, make it easy for the quarterback. And then there may be times where the quarterback's got to make a special play for you. Noah Fafita can do that, but that can't be your baseline offense.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
You all fired up?
Yeah.
Sir, yes, sir.
But I do have a couple questions for you to ask.
Sure.
Coach Daigie, Coach Brennan. Number one, Coach Daigie, will we see Noah Fafita under center more this year than last year?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I think he'll be in shotgun a lot.
Okay.
So
then, I mean, so do you, I mean, because I feel like the play action game is much better out of under center than out of shotgun.
Sure.
So, I mean, how much because you said Seth Daiggie, he constructs his offense around the skill set of the players that he has based on what he did at Marshall. The players that he has and the quarterback that he has, play action is a very useful tool, especially if you can run the ball. We got a good running back room. We'll see how the offensive line is constructed this year based on some of the losses we had, like Josh Baker and Savianea. So, I mean, I was just like, so if you're going to do that, and Noah Fafita in his first year starting was really successful in play action, are you going to be if you're going to be in shotgun more often than under center, how do you do the play action game out of shotgun? My question for Coach Brennan is, the April transfer portal opens up and you got 19 new guys coming in who are finishing high school or their junior college, whatever. Are you looking in the transfer portal to add anybody else in April to fill in a couple of spots? What position groups are you looking at specifically?
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm helping you become a award-winning journalist with some good questions.
Well, I think as far as the transfer portal goes in April, Arizona, they're really going to have to do their homework, because that's also another reason why so many teams are canceling spring games. Not only do they want to keep their players healthy, right? Arizona's like, we're paying these 3 players a combined $1 million. We're not risking them getting hurt in the spring. We want them to be healthy in September and October. But there's also, some other coaches out there that are like, we're canceling our spring game because we don't want other teams poaching our players and taking them away from us.
You know what's interesting though? It's like we
don't want to showcase them for other teams, right?
I totally understand that, right? And I think playing a spring game doesn't really get you anything, right? This time of year, the weight room and conditioning is the most important thing, and the second most important thing is that your players knowing the scheme, making sure that when you line up and you go no huddle, everybody knows what to do. You can, like you talked about this yesterday, the physicality of football, and how do you get into the physicality without actually getting so physical that you're, potentially injuring your guys. First of all, football injuries happen. That's the way it is. You got to be physical a little bit. You don't need to tackle to the ground, and you can practice physicality. But the number one way to produce a team that is tough and physical to some extent without like actually going live to the ground, you practice fast.
Yeah.
As Oregon did that for years. They did it the day before. Like football walkthrough usually is pretty slow and people are like halfway there or not. Oregon practice fast the day before a game. Practice fast and with a purpose, that'll help.
All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali, we're going to continue this Arizona spring football conversation and talk more takeaways from yesterday's first day at Dick Tomey practice fields. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Radio. ESPN Tucson wants to help you pay for a tank of gas, get some groceries, maybe help out with an emergency repair, a game with your buddies, or a night on the town at your favorite sports bar, or even a vacation, or all of these. We want to pay your bills. It's our Pay Your Bills contest, courtesy of O'Reilly Chevrolet. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price. And there's a chance to win more than $2,000 every single weekday through Friday, April 25th. Here's how you can qualify. You can listen for keywords given 5 times between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Then once you hear that keyword, text it to 520-719-1490 for your chance to win some cash. And the keyword this hour that was just announced is
Yep.
So
Don't click off that. Keep going. I got notes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Text the
okay.
word to 520-719-1490. Again, text to 520-719-1490 for a chance to win more than $2,000. Get all the information about our Pay Your Bills contest at ESPNTucson.com.
So number one, every weekday, $2,000 means $10,000. We're giving away $10,000 a week. So listen to the damn show. But what's curious is, can you go up on that read a little bit? Because I want to know, it's $2,000. A night on the town at your favorite sports bar, $2,000, man. That is a night that you will, when I say you'll never forget, actually the right way to say it is you probably forgot.
Yeah.
$2,000 a lot
$2,000
for a night out.
That's buying a few of your buddies, Five Guys.
It's a night you'll never forget the parts you remember of it.
Yeah. All I'll say is if you go to your quote unquote favorite sports bar with $2,000, buddy, she doesn't like you. She's not in love with you.
Just the drinks are
And
paid.
if you know what I'm saying, It's just she likes your money. It's not you.
All right, let's talk some Arizona Wildcats football. We were just talking about spring ball and just kind of some notable takeaways. Offense, very snappy, very quick. They have a sense of urgency. They're playing with intent. Some other things that I took away too, that with the wide receiver groups and them running shorter routes. Expect the slot receivers to be very much involved. Yeah, last year, T-Mac was the guy, right? Big bodied, 6'5", 215-pound receiver, arguably the greatest receiver in Arizona football history. I think he is. He was the top weapon. This year, I would expect those weapons to be more slot receiver guys. And that's why they went out and got Luke Wysong for New Mexico, who had over 100 receiving yards against Arizona in the season opener last year. Chris Hudson, a former highly touted recruit. He was a 4-star guy out of St. John Bosco High School. He went to Oregon, then went to Washington State for a year. Did pretty solid last year for the Cougars, and now he's back here. He was very much involved. And I think T-Mac's successor will be Trey Spivey III, and he looks the part as a 6'4", 213-pound receiver. So I like the weapons Arizona has there. It's kind of weird seeing another receiver not named T-Mac wear number 4.
Oh, is Spivey wearing 4?
No. It's Chris Hudson, the guy that I just mentioned, the slot receiver. And we're going from 6'5" to like 5'9", 5'10". It just we were talking about like what's his nickname, and we decided we're going to call him Mini Mac. Mini Mac.
Yeah.
Or Minute Mac.
You know, every once in a while, I really need you to like and repost what I put out on X. And I did a couple yesterday. I'm trying to help the national media.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that. Tet
is not a thing. So I subscribe to the McShay Report because I like his draft analysis. I like his podcast.
Do you listen to it while you're watching the actual draft?
No, I listened to it before, so I'm prepared for the actual draft.
Gotcha. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah. And he issues like a weekly or kind of a twice a week McShay Report talking about different, draft eligible prospects. I read it. I kind of do my homework. But I want to tell you how much this bothers me. 2 nights ago, I had a dream that I was at a party and Todd McShay was there. And I'm like, hey, Todd, I'm a subscriber to the McShay Report. I love your podcast. And we're just having a pleasant talk. And then I was like, hey, man, can I talk to you again real quick? Because I didn't talk about the Tet thing. And you could tell, like, he was like, dude, come on, you got to let me go. I'm like, listen, just 30 seconds. So he's listening. I'm like, do me a favor. Just one thing. Stop calling him Tet. That's not a thing. Tet is not a thing. It's T-Mac. It's Tetaroa, or his nickname is Nola.
Nalo.
Sorry. So I messed that up.
Not New Orleans.
Not Nola.
Not
Nalo.
New Orleans.
So I put that, and he's like, okay, I'll do that for you. So I know later you're on some sort of call with Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
I don't know if one of you guys has the cojones to tell Mel Kiper, listen, when we're talking about Tetaro McMillan, the national media keeps saying Tet because they're lazy. So unless you want me to start calling you Meh because I don't want to write the L, would you please let everybody know it's not Tet?
You know, I've actually had this thought that I'm going to tell Mel Kiper, like, because he's going to answer some questions and I'm going to ask him, like, hey, what do you like about Tetaro McMillan about a prospect? And before you answer that, can I just please ask you to tell your colleagues that he does not go by Tet.
Yeah.
It is Tetaroa or T-Mac or Nalo.
Yeah.
So I am planning on telling that to Mel Kiper today.
Please do it. And if you
I am
can
gonna do
record it, we'll cut it, we'll play it. I'll love you. I'll leave you alone for 2 minutes. Just please do it because it really bothers me. And it's really like, Ollie Farhang, Justin Spears, and produced by Trujillo, because we don't want to write Ndrew, right? Like, it's just like, you're just being lazy because you don't want to write Tetaroa. It's not Tet.
I would say it's more like produced by and we don't want to put we don't want to put Rue.
It's just crazy. I mean, I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it really does.
It does. Well, especially just because, like, it just popped out of nowhere. And the first time I heard Tet outside of Tet Offensive is it was at Big 12 Media Day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, I see it on the screen. I hear, pundits talking about him, like, Tet McMillan. No. This is going to be like a one-hit wonder. This is only going to be at Big 12 Media Day, and no one's ever going to talk about it ever again. And for some reason, it just has caught on. And unfortunately, it's with the national guys. And so they're pushing this Tet agenda, and people are going to start picking it up. And I'm like, no, guys, come on now. It's Tetaroa or T-Mac or Nalo, or according to Pat McAfee, the Irish Oos. It's not Tet.
It's not Tet.
It's not Tet. So,
although I think that there was a Tet offensive in Vietnam. So that's
Vietnam. Yeah,
I guess. Anyway, stop. And it's not because Tet is cool or somebody's doing a King Tet thing that gives him like NIL or some sort of sponsor money. No, you're doing it because you are lazy and don't want to write the rest of his name or look up how it's spelled. It's not Tet, man.
And even if you're going to get lazy with it,
lazy bastard.
His name is actually pronounced Tetaroa. But if you wanted to say Tetaroa, I don't care. But Tet, what is this Tet business?
Todd McShay woke up in a cold sweat last night, and his wife was like, "What's going on?" He was like, "I don't know. I had a dream. This bald guy in a Mean Joe Green jersey was yelling at me about Tetaroa McMillan."
In a Mean Joe Green jersey. It's too perfect. Franco Harris.
I don't often join like live when they do live podcasts, but if I hear it on his next episode, I'm going to find out what time it is. I'm going to go on, and in the comments, I'm going to be like, you need to stop saying Tet. You need to stop. And I'm going to just keep writing it until he acknowledges it on the show.
Or until you get moderated.
Yeah. Or I get kicked out. Right.
All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali, we're going to wrap up hour number 1, talking March Madness, NCAA tournament, all things Arizona Wildcats football. Stay locked in. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Radio. Join ESPN Tucson at the Pima County Fair for Pepsi Wristband Day on Wednesday, April 23rd. You could bring in an unopened 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi, Zero Sugar Pepsi, or Starry, and you could receive a $5 discount towards a $40 wristband for unlimited carnival rides and one free ride on the Titan. The Titan. Wristbands are good starting at 3 p.m. and must be purchased by 10 p.m. on that day. And you can find more information by going to espntucson.com.
That seems like a pretty good deal. Like you go buy a bottle of whatever, Pepsi Zero.
Yeah.
That costs what? $2?
Something like that.
And then you get $5 off of the wristband. So you get to drink whatever your favorite drink is in the Pepsi line of products. And then You get an extra $3 off.
Damn straight, man.
Yeah.
And it's a great deal for the rides if you're a ride person at the fair.
Absolutely.
Because those tickets, those ride tickets are expensive.
Can you buy like Fast Pass at the Pima County
You
Fair?
can actually now. They have something like that.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
Mhm.
Wish that was around when I was a kid.
I think it might have been.
No way.
I don't know.
I mean, he talks about it, but he's not really looking at the rides because he's in the fried Twinkie line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. And
I
fried Twinkie, fried Snickers.
Yeah. I can't
Okay.
hate on him too much. My tradition used to be getting fried cheesecake every time I went. So
Good God. I mean, I'm sure it's great.
Get a turkey leg,
fantastic.
fried Snickers, man. That's the go-to.
I may not live to be 100, but boy, howdy, it's going to be a good time.
You're definitely a 4-year-old in the Renaissance. Go ahead.
All right, so I put out a tweet. What is the most memorable dream you had that involved a sports figure or celebrity?
I like it.
Because Ali was just talking about his dream with Todd McShay,
Yeah.
telling him it is not Tet, it's Tetaroa McMillan. It's not T-Mac. And like I said earlier, I'm having that Zoom call with Mel Kiper Jr. I'm gonna ask him a question about T-Mac and also Big Jonas Savianaya, and I'm gonna tell him like, hey Mel, like, I'm not trying to grill you here, but you got to tell your colleagues to stop calling him Tet.
Yeah.
And I will record that.
Please. I mean, you know that I've got a lot of love for you guys. And sometimes that love is in the form of I'm very direct and honest about things that maybe are not great, right? I don't just, blow sunshine up the yin yang. So if you do something, I'm like, guys, you got to do that better or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a sign of love. I'm not telling you that. That means I don't love you. But if you do that with Mel Kiper, you go up another notch.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you do.
All right.
Yeah, you do.
You're going to get a kiss right on the forehead.
All right, coming up next
If
on
you want it.
Spears and Ali, we are going to talk about kind of the pros and cons of Arizona basketball going into the NCAA tournament. So they got the Akron Zips coming up here Friday afternoon. It should be a fun game. What are some things that we're high on when it comes to the Arizona Wildcats, and what are some things that maybe give us a little bit of concern for the Wildcats this March? We're going to be talking pros and cons to begin hour number 2 of Spears and Ali. And then we're also going to hear from Saul Bookman and Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star to talk about his Q&A with Desiree Reed-Francois and also all things Arizona baseball. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Tucson. Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4. We're also streaming live on ESPNTucson.com and the ESPN Tucson mobile app. Make sure you download that for free. Lots of cool upgrades on that ESPN Tucson mobile app. I think it's the best way to listen to ESPN Tucson, so make sure you download the ESPN Tucson mobile app. And we're also on Apple, Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and comment today. And we're also on YouTube as well. YouTube is a platform we're trying to get big on. So please go to YouTube, search Spears and Ali, and hit that subscribe button.
And I'm just going to, again, I like to be intentional about things. And by Friday, we will have a video up on TikTok, Spears and Ali. You can look for it there, or Instagram. So,
yeah, you going to create that?
No.
Oh, you got the big idea.
I need guys to execute. Yeah, I am a big idea guy. You're right. Everybody's got their role.
I'm super.
11 Tom Brady's on the field would lose every game, right? So
you just compare yourself to Tom Brady.
I mean, there's Michael Jordan and there's Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen's good. Horace Grant was good.
Okay,
but there's Michael Jordan.
True.
Did you guys hear that there was a concert in Chicago that damaged all 6 of their championship banners from the Jordan era?
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it was a band I like.
Damn. What's the name of the band?
Disturbed.
Oh, Disturbed.
Yeah, there's a bunch of They had like a big tower that like caught fire, like it was supposed to. It wasn't like it was pyrotechnics, and yeah, the banners didn't like it.
Well, I'm guessing the Disturbed will not be invited back to the United States.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're trying to improve our presence on the social media apps and the interwebs. So look up Spears and Ali wherever you are on social media, and we're gonna have some videos there. Lots of great content coming your way. But YouTube, man, that's our new home that we're trying to really become and have our presence on. So please go to YouTube, search Spears and Ali, and hit that subscribe button. So we got the NCAA tournament starting this week, and man, what a great start with the playing games yesterday. The first 4, Alabama State, crazy game-winning layup at the end with 0.7 seconds left.
Hit the under by 0.5 because of that play.
You were
Just-
nervous.
I wasn't even watching. I found out after. I'm like, oh, 70-68. Cool. I won by 0.5. What a start. But I didn't know I won it on a shot with 0.7 seconds left with a home run pass. Didn't know that until I went home after my walk and watched Sports Center. So that was great. And by the way, I know you guys are like, oh, North Carolina proving that it belongs. No, that doesn't prove it belongs because they beat San Diego State, who sucks. And Mountain West teams that are ranked 10 or more in the tournament are 1-28 or something like that. So, I mean, San Diego State is horrible. So good job, North Carolina. You're going to lose the next game. Still shouldn't have been in the tournament.
No.
It's still not a quad 1 or quad 2 win.
1-12
Yeah.
against quad 1.
Yeah.
Technically, now they're in the tournament.
Well, I mean, if you're in a play-in, you're in the tournament, right?
No, well, yeah, I know.
But now you're
it's
really in the
field
tournament.
of
Now you're in the
64.
field of 64.
Yeah.
Got it. I want Xavier to really win tonight. Sean Miller,
yeah.
Xavier. I think I'm -3.5 feels good to me.
Be the first SEC team to fall. Oh, it'd be so nice.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And that'd be great if it was, out of all people, Rodney Terry. I don't know why Rodney Terry pisses me off.
Because he's a big hypocrite.
Yes.
Yeah.
A huge
So you
hypocrite.
do
Given the
know-
obvious
so you do
reason
know.
that you
Yeah.
would dislike him.
Yeah, I do know the reason.
Yeah.
Don't you put the horns down
Right.
whenever you play us, but this is also the same guy who, in the middle of the handshake line, goes and celebrates with his fans. It's like, screw all you guys that we just beat. I'm gonna go celebrate with my fans.
Yeah.
Freaking.
You
hypocrite,
don't see
man.
many coaches jumping on the scores table and being t-shirt throw guy, the throw t-shirt in the crowd guy. That's Rodney Terry. He's done some other stuff too. It's like, that's whatever. I don't
Big
want to talk
baby.
about that guy.
But anyways, yeah.
Texas should have never fired Rick Barnes. It was a
Yep.
mistake.
Yep. And so I'm hoping, and there's actually some interesting connections outside of the U of A for people that are, in Tucson. Jordan Gainey, he used to play at South Point Catholic. I think he might have played at Pima College, if I'm not mistaken, but he is playing at
Tennessee.
He
Played great in the SEC championship game against Florida. He was the guy that was keeping them in the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Arizona basketball. Just to tell you right now, one of the cons is I just wish we had one more guard that could handle the ball and shoot. Jordan Gainey would be the perfect guy on this team. It's like the one element. It's like, I love Conrad Martinez. Great kid, good ball handler, sees the floor really well. But he has some limitations. His size, when you're playing a team like Houston, Conrad Martinez, that's not a game for him. I think he might play against Akron, but I mean, Jordan Gainey would be having a guy that could come off the bench and shoot and handle the ball. Give Jaden Bradley some time off. Caleb Love didn't come out of the game against Houston. He played the entire game.
Wow. And I will give Jordan Gainey a ton of credit because, his dad is Justin Gainey, who used to be an assistant coach under Sean Miller.
Great dude.
And solid dude. I do agree with that. And when he went to Tennessee and Jordan Gainey got a spot on Tennessee, I'm like, okay, Nepo kid getting a spot because his dad's an assistant coach, whatever. And then he turns into this fantastic player for Tennessee. So my apologies, Jordan, for being skeptical. But I mean, he was a late bloomer. And after his time at South Point Catholic, turned into this great ball player. So, yeah, if you are interested in watching Tennessee basketball, there's a Tucson connection, former South Point Catholic Jordan Gainey on that team. And then, of course, you have some other guys that are in the tournament as well that used to play at Arizona. Isn't our guy Paulius Morauskas? Isn't he at St. Mary's right now?
He is.
And so you got him
That's right.
at St. Mary's. Kylan Boswell is at Illinois. So, yeah, there's some U of A guys around. And, of course, Sean Miller, the Xavier Musketeers, and the guys that he has on
Ryan
his staff
Reynolds, too. Ryan Anderson. I mean, I'm a big Sean Miller fan. I hope he does really well. I heard a rumor yesterday, speaking of Rodney Terry, that if Rodney Terry gets involuntarily separated from his job at Texas, which is possible, that Chris Del Conte, the athletic director at Texas, may go after Sean Miller. And I'm like, man, Sean, I think Sean loves Xavier. I think his family
his
loves.
son is named Austin.
It is true. My son's name is Xavier. He hasn't gone there. So, whatever.
Just trying to make that storyline.
Storylines. Yeah.
He's trying to see if the fire will light and it's raining.
But,
outside.
he's got a home there. They took him back as head coach after he left for Arizona. it would be, I think, as much money and resources Texas can offer. I mean, never say never. I think it'd be really difficult for Sean to leave Xavier if that rumor is true.
And then you have 2 former Arizona coaches at Texas, Sean Miller and Laura Ianello.
Yeah,
coaching women's golf.
That would be
Interesting.
true.
Where is Xavier?
Cincinnati,
Ohio.
Cincinnati. Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, from Pittsburgh. It's right there. It's,
Yeah.
it's basically where their family's
It's his
from.
neck
All
of
their
the
families
woods.
there. I mean, it would be tough. Look, we'll talk about it later if that ever comes to pass. But I'm just trying to imagine, you took a year off, all the things that transpired. Xavier brought you back as coach. You've been building something at Xavier.
You gonna leave again?
You're gonna.
Yeah, that's a really hard decision because I remember, Sean Miller, if I'm not mistaken, I could be totally wrong here. Didn't he turn down the Arizona job first?
Yes.
And he was like, no, I'm gonna come back to Xavier. And then Arizona pretty much gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. And when he held that farewell press conference at Xavier, he was in tears. He was devastated that he was leaving such a great thing that he built in Cincinnati. And when he came back to Xavier last year, it felt like, okay, this is Sean Miller's gig until he decides to retire. But then, you have these other schools that are interested in you, and sometimes they have some things that are just too good to turn down. But man, it'd be hard to see Sean Miller leave Xavier twice. But I get it. I understand.
I have a hard time believing that he would do that because you just know the person and, whatever you think about his coaching or, what the fake allegations were about the program during that time, the guy's got immense integrity. I would be shocked if he left Xavier for Texas. Now, the Lakers wanted him as coach. I could see that, but I think he's good, man. And I just, maybe he leverages it to get a raise at Xavier. That's all I can think of, but I don't see it. My brother disagrees with me, but he's an idiot, and I know more than he does.
I like JJ Redick as the Lakers coach.
I love JJ Redick as the Lakers coach.
All right, we'll talk more about that later on.
So pros and cons of Arizona basketball. Yeah, what do give me a couple pros, couple cons from your perspective, Justin?
So going into the tournament, just kind of looking at the pros and cons of the Wildcats, I think honestly, let's start off with the cons or pros, good or bad. What should we start off with?
It's the usually dealer's choice, man.
Let's start off with the bad.
You're talking now. I've been carrying the show.
Let's start off with the bad. Let's start off with the bad. Perimeter defense has been an issue throughout the season. A lot of teams have had just barrages of 3-pointers. Some of that is just teams just having a really good night, right? I think Iowa State was one of those teams. I think they shot like 52% from 3-point range, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that game that every now and again where a team will just come up and have their best game. But, UCLA, heck, ASU, right? Like you allowed ASU to come down and drop 100 points on you.
Yeah.
Absolutely inexcusable.
That was like a wreck game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So perimeter defense, I think definitely needs to improve. I would also like to see them improve in those rock fights, those slugfest games, because I think Houston just grinded them down and Arizona got fatigued in the final minutes, which is kind of segues.
Didn't they do a good job against Texas Tech? Because I thought that was kind of a rock fight game too.
That is a very good point as well. But against experienced guards, right? Arizona, the further you get in March, the more likely you're going to play against a backcourt that is maybe a little older than you, but potentially a little bit tougher than you. And I think Houston and the experience and the toughness that they have in their backcourt show that is a blueprint to beat Arizona. You get them tired, you get them fatigued, you wear them down. Arizona's offense was kind of MIA in those last few minutes, and that's how Arizona lost the Big 12 tournament. So I think going up against mature guards and kind of that slow style of play, I think is definitely a concern for Arizona. But I think the pros of this Arizona team is Caleb Love is playing his ass off right now, and he's playing really good basketball at the right time, because last year he was in this funk and he wasn't this multi-dimensional player that you see right now. So if he wasn't shooting well, he was completely out of the game. It was pretty much like you're playing 4-on-5. You can't have that from your best player. So he's done a great job of allowing the game to come to him. He still hunts his shots, but they're also good looks too. And if he doesn't have a clean look, he's going to pass it to his teammates. Caleb Love does not take dumb shots anymore. And that was probably the most frustrating part about him last year and also in the early parts of this year. So him getting his teammates involved, becoming a better defender, becoming an all-around player, and playing really good basketball right now at this point of the season, I think is a huge bonus for Arizona. So having your leader right now playing good ball, that's a big pro for Arizona. And I think another pro is that the depth is rising at the right time. Henry Vasar, like people talk about like, oh, what if Arizona plays against Duke in the Sweet 16? We'll talk about that when we get there, right? Arizona still has to play 2 games to get there. But in that game against Duke, Henry Vasar wasn't a thing, right? Mo Krivus was trying to work his way back. Henry Vasar was just kind of a reserve big man. He was pretty much a non-factor in that Duke game. And then you have KJ Lewis, who kind of got into a funk towards the end of Big 12 play, but has gotten healthier. And now he's starting to take the wrist off, or the tape off his wrist. He's like, no, I need to get rid of it. And he looked great in the Big 12 tournament. And then you add in Carter Bryant, who, yes, has had a couple of off games, but man, the potential, what he's got as a player, his skill set, those 3 guys right there are going to be so important. And of course, you like to see more out of Anthony Del Orso and Trey Townsend, but those 3 role players, the depth players that they have, I think are all going in the right direction. So that's where I stand with the pros and cons.
All right. Well, I mean, we kind of mirror each other. So, I mean, the things I'm concerned about is, taking care of the ball. We've done a better job for the most part. We didn't do a good job at the end of the game against Houston. It seems like a little bit of over dribbling and carelessness with the ball. We can't turn the ball over. We have to protect the basketball. And because if we don't get shots up, we can't score points. I know that's Captain Obvious, but there's times in the season when Arizona was just careless with the ball, lazy passes, over dribbling, and then just kind of losing it. Those unforced errors are going to get you beat in March. And, and then the other thing is that I'm looking for is we can't get drawn into this game where it's run, shoot 3-pointer, shoot 3-pointer, shoot 3-pointer. Know your strengths and play to your strengths. And the strengths of this Arizona team, especially against Akron, is inside. I want to see the guys getting the ball inside over and over and over again, because it's going to work against Akron. And, don't be surprised Akron doesn't play zone. They play man-to-man. So it's not going to be – we're going to be able to do it. And don't be surprised if they kind of pack the lane. The guy plays off KJ Lewis and comes inside to help with the length inside. And it's like, shoot it, KJ. And so if that happens, KJ is going to have to hit a couple of open threes, or else you're not going to draw that defender out, and you're going to have some problems on the inside. But my pros are with you. Caleb Love, all-around good game. The rise of Henry Vasar, the rise of the inside game, and then the complementary players raising their games. I want to see Jaden Bradley be a little more aggressive.
Yeah,
because he is also very dynamic going to the rim. And every once in a while, Jaden, you got to shoot that 3-pointer.
Yeah,
because they know you're hesitant to shoot it. And, you may not make it, but at least if they know you're going to shoot it, then they got to have to guard you, and it helps the other guys. And he makes, when he's wide open, he usually makes it.
Heck, the reason why Kylan Boswell isn't here anymore is because of how Jaden Bradley was playing towards the end of the season last year.
He was the high scorer against Clemson.
So
people don't remember that. He kept us in that game.
Yeah. Had a few blocks, few steals. So he's
great.
Really good player. Arizona will take on the Akron Zips Friday afternoon. Nice little 4:30 game on True TV.
Yeah, I like it.
Can't wait. True TV. I only ever watch NCAA tournament and Cops on that show, on that channel.
You actually watch True TV for anything?
No, I haven't seen an episode of Cops in years. Used to watch Cops all the time, though.
Are you bobbing your head to Bad Boys, Boys? What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
As he's taking another chicken finger out of the box, it's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna come for you.
Pour my second bowl of cereal.
Yeah. With chocolate milk. Yeah.
All right, coming up next on Spears and Ali, we're going to talk to our guy, Saul Bookman, about Arizona in the NCAA tournament, and we'll also chat with him about these Phoenix Suns. Stay tuned. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Radio.
Phoenix Suns.
Oh, my steaks are done.
Yeah.
Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson, presented by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Now time to bring on our guy, Saul Bookman from AllCity Network and host of the McHale Madness podcast with Corey Williams. Saul, good morning, man. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? How we doing today?
Doing great.
Good to see you, not just hear you.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
It's a little different. It's a little different. I don't know if I'm used to this.
Well, thank you for joining us while our phones are down.
Justin was really happy though, because he's like, finally, Saul's got to say it to my face. So,
so Saul, man, you were out there in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. You were out there for 2 weeks. Describe the experience. What was that like, being in Kansas in Missouri for 2 weeks?
Oh, I mean, we're talking about two different things: the Big 12 tournament or Missouri, whichever one you want to get into first. But listen, Kansas City is a great city. It's a great city. There's a food scene that I think a lot of people sleep on.
Yes.
I thought the weather was actually really damn near perfect the entire time until about the last 2 days, and the people are genuinely just super nice. The environment was good. The arena was solid. Like everything that is controllable, I thought was executed highly.
So let me ask you this. I mean, with Arizona shift to the Big 12, when Arizona was in the Pac-12 and the tournament started, I passively rooted for the other Pac-12 teams. I was like, I hope, they do well. It's our conference. I am much more fervent and zealous about rooting for Big 12 teams than I ever was Pac-12 teams. Do you get that same sense?
1,000,000%. Like I want every single Big 12 team to just go out there and kick ass. 1,000,000%. Like I really feel like the Big 12 to me was the best conference this year. I know the SEC definitely has an argument for that, and I'm not taking that away whatsoever. But I feel like there's an opportunity here to kind of prove that in this tournament, and I think that Arizona could absolutely reap the benefits of this conference. And I think that's what we're all hoping for. I think we've done everything else. We've had phenomenal regular seasons. We've been number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 seeds before. We've won the conference tournament. We've lost the conference tournament. All that heading into the NCAA tournament. And we just have not been able to get past that, that Elite Eight, that Sweet 16, obviously in the last 24 years. So I'm hoping that this has got us battle tested way more than ever before heading into that tournament.
How do you think people will feel about Tommy Lloyd? Let's say if they get to the Sweet 16 and end up losing, it's like, okay, another trip to the Sweet 16 where Arizona falls short. How do you think Arizona fans are going to take that?
Justin, I think if you took 100% of the fan base, I would separate the fan base into slivers like this. I think there's 10% of fans who, for whatever reason, just want to hate everything about Arizona basketball, despite the fact that they call themselves an Arizona basketball fan.
Yep.
And then you have another 10% that absolutely hate Tommy Lloyd and think that he should be fired after every single minute of every single game, no matter what, since day one. Like there's nothing that Tommy will ever do to be able to satisfy those people. Then you have like another maybe 30% of people that don't hate Tommy Lloyd. They don't hate U of A basketball, but they're constantly negative. They're in that negative space. And then you have another 25% that are, they'll just see how it goes and kind of judge the reality of the situation. What was presented, how did the team fare? What were the realities of the obstacles that they had to endure this year? Because not every single year Arizona's ever been a 1 or a 2 seed doesn't mean that they were necessarily the best Arizona team of all time, or even that year. Sometimes you just get lucky and you get into a groove of a season where you just don't play teams that are really, really tough. We saw that a lot in the Pac-12, where Arizona was really, really, really good on paper, and then they got to the tournament and they played some legit teams, and it didn't work out. Look at 2022 when they lost to Houston in the Sweet 16. I think that team was really, really good, but I don't think it was like an all-time great team, and certainly not an undisputed Final Four team. Like, I don't think that was an upset when they lost to Houston. I think Houston was legitimately just a better team. So, and then you have the last 25% where they're always going to be positive no matter what, right? Like, they're just nothing any Arizona or Tommy Lloyd could ever disappoint them. And so I think there's just a balance there.
Yeah.
So this game that we're going into with the Akron Zips, they're not a tall team. I think their tallest guy's 6'8". Everybody else is like 6'5" or below. The trap I see for this team, and I'm going to be yelling at my TV, is we pass the ball around the perimeter. We don't drive it to the hoop, and we're just shooting 3-pointers. We're not getting it inside, and then not taking care of the ball. We're careless turnovers. You see any other key elements to this game other than making sure we're taking the ball to the basket or getting it inside and taking care of the ball?
Well, getting it inside was the last part I was going to say. Yeah, you got to get the ball inside. Toby Awaka should have a field day. So should Henry Basar. If those two guys are not, if they're not touching the ball down low on the block at least once a possession, then I think that's where you're definitely going to go wrong. But
I think Trey Townsend could have a big game because he's an inside guy that I think is an undersized inside guy, and he's playing against 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet guys. He's going to be playing against the tallest 6'8". I think Trey Townsend could have a big game inside.
I think Trey Townsend could have a big tournament. I think Trey found a little bit of his groove in the Big 12 tournament. I think he started to get a little bit of his swag back, started feeling good. And he actually told me that in the locker room after the second game against Texas Tech. I just asked him, hey, what's been going on? I can tell that like physically you just look and that like you're more confident than you were before. He's just like, honestly, I start blocking out the noise. A lot of people just, sending so much hate my way. And several guys actually had to delete social media, in the last couple of weeks, just because it's just gotten so toxic. It's gotten so bad. Like, there's a lot more that goes into that too. I promise you that. But I think Trey Townsend, to your point, Ali, yes, 1,000,000%. I think he could have a big tournament, especially against these kind of teams, these teams that don't have a lot of size. He's so versatile. He could be phenomenal when it comes to that kind of stuff. So hopefully we'll see the best Trey Townsend version in this tournament.
Talking to our guy, Saul Bookman from AllCity Network and host of the McHale Madness podcast. So Caleb Love, how would you compare him this year in comparison to this time of year last year? Because I feel like last year he was in this funk, and it was a big reason why Arizona fell short. Now he's the reason why I'm so confident in Arizona making a deep run in the tournament.
Oh man, I feel like I feel the same. I feel pretty confident. Again, Caleb has been so up and down. That is the scary part. It's like I don't want to put all my eggs into the Caleb Love basket as much as I want to support him as much as possible, and I have confidence that he's going to play well. I think the shift here is that when it's not going well for him, he has stopped relying on the jump shot in the three. He has actually been trying to drive it to the basket far more. And I think anytime Caleb Love is aggressive and taking it to the basket, I just feel like that's a way better recipe for success for him, because those easy little buckets, those buckets at the rim, not only give him confidence when he's making it, but I think it gives him a little confidence in terms of his swag. And I think his swag is also what contributes to his confidence. So I would say that Caleb Love is in a good position versus last year. But if Arizona's going to go far, all five guys on the court have got to play at a high level. It can't just be one or two guys that they're relying on.
No doubt, man.
Looking at the tournament as a whole, are there any teams in the field that you're like, man, I don't know how anybody's going to beat them? Or you got a couple of favorites? I mean, everybody's going Duke and Florida. I know I am, but anybody else maybe that people aren't talking about that you're like, these guys could actually make a run?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've really been impressed with Alabama. Alabama's going to be tough because Alabama can score, and they can score at a high clip. But Alabama's also that team where if they go a little cold, you might be able to sneak one out on them. And seeing Alabama in person last year, and it's relatively the same team, I could see why. Sears is a great guard. He's as good as they come in the game. He's kind of like Rick Brunson 2.0. I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson. Yeah, not Rick Brunson, Temple legend.
Oh no, his older brother Rick, man, he was great on the play. I mean, he's like a playground legend. So you're not far off.
That's his dad.
Just making stuff up, dude. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, Justin.
So, I think Alabama is probably one of those teams. I would say a sleeper team as well and this is totally based on if they can get past the first 2 games without Keyshawn Gilbert, but Iowa State. I think Iowa State, that Gilbert loss is going to hurt, though. And I don't know if he's even going to be healthy enough. I know they've ruled him out for the first game. I don't know if he'll be back for the second game or not. But Iowa State, when they're clicking, they're as good as any team in the country, offensively and defensively. And they've got a nice, all-around team. So I would say that Iowa State is probably another one as well.
Talking to our guy, Saul Bookman from McHale Madness. Saul, what's the coverage looking like this week with you and Corey?
So we're doing our show tonight. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Seattle this time. I feel like the turnaround was just too much, and so I'm gonna stay home for this one. But next week,
you see the weather, dude. I think you're all right. I mean, it's
good,
cold
good.
and rainy.
Hopefully
Arizona's not cold and rainy, but it's not looking awesome.
I think that after that, I if they do make it to the Sweet 16, I'll probably head out to Jersey for that one, and see how that goes. So,
New Jersey doesn't sound enticing.
No. You're not a big fan of Newark?
No, not a big fan of Newark.
No,
freaking Big Ten country, man. All right, Saul Bookman, co-host of the McHale Madness podcast. Check him out on YouTube at PHNX Sports. Saul, always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate you, fellas.
Great to see you.
Appreciate
Saul.
you, man.
See you guys.
That Newark airport.
Yeah.
The smell of rotten bologna. It's awesome.
And gabagool.
Pretty sure that's what rotten bologna is.
Gabagool.
I don't know.
Capicola. All right. Coming up next on Spears and Ali, we got Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star. He's going to talk about this red hot Arizona baseball team and why the hell people keep calling T-Mac Tet. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Radio.
It's not Tet.
Man, this Arizona baseball team, red hot right now. Winners of the last 9 straight games. And ever since their trip to Dallas, they have not lost. And even that trip to Dallas, they beat the number 1 team in the country in Texas A&M. Yeah. And that loss was to a top 10 Tennessee team, right? So this Arizona baseball club, man, they are playing some really good ball right now. And we, at the start of the season, my colleague Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star said, if we're looking at the trends of Arizona baseball, this is a team that is destined to go to Omaha. And they're certainly playing like an Omaha team as of late. Let's talk about all things Arizona baseball, maybe a little Arizona football and basketball with our guy, Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star. Lev, thank you for joining us, man. So let's get right into it. Arizona baseball, what do you make of just the run that they're on right now? What stands out to you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. Great.
Good.
Thank you as always.
Yeah, Justin, good morning. Hey, good morning, Lev.
I said good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right into it. What did you miss that part?
I guess I did.
I don't have the calculator in front of me to figure out what Arizona's ERA was over the course of this homestand, but I do know that they allowed 3 or fewer runs in every game. So I would say that it's sub 3, and that's pretty darn good for what's supposed to be a quote unquote hitter's park, right, at High Corbett. The poor man's version of Coors Field. Their pitching's been unbelievable, and it's a carryover from last year. They brought Kevin Vance in as pitching coach. They brought John DeRuin in as his assistant. They've leaned into data in a major way. Kevin Vance also, really emphasizes toughness, throwing strikes, a lot of stuff that sounds pretty basic, but he's able to get that message across. And when your pitching is that consistently good, you can win a lot of ball games, even if your lineup is a little up and down. And it's been a little up and down, but that's also rounding into form. And I just really like the kind of game by game business-like approach that this team takes. Also, very mature type of approach to the game. And that doesn't surprise me because, they have a pros pro leading the club in Chip Hale, and they also have a lot of veterans throughout their starting lineup.
Well, Lev, last year the team, the Pac-12 champion Arizona Wildcats, for all time, no takebacks because there is no more Pac-12 really. They really were the cardiac kids, and they were doing it with hitting and like winning like 12-11 in the bottom of the ninth. And like you said, pitching has been so consistent this year. do you see the bats getting a little warmer? And if they're able to put the bats and combine it with the pitching, is this a team that can win the College World Series?
I mean, I don't want to go as far as to say they can win the College World Series. I mean, I think they can. I think there are some really, really good teams out there. They saw one of them in Tennessee, which is the only team they've lost to in the last, I want to say 16 games. I think it's 15 out of 16. It could be 16 out of 17 at this point. But I think, the goal is to get to Omaha, and I think this team has the stuff to do that. Now, look, we're a long, long way away. The college baseball season is the longest of them all. Injuries can happen. Things can change over the course of the season. There will be ups and downs at some point. But, when you reference the comebacks last year, one thing that stands out about that, people have to keep that in mind, is that the pitching kept them in the game, right? And enabled the bats to kind of get the job done at the end. And when you look at their overall statistical profile, the lack of home runs so far this season, I think you really need to keep in mind that the weather's been a little bit on the cold side here in Tucson. It has been blowing in almost every game at High Corbett Field. And that is a really difficult ballpark to hit home runs in. The power alleys are really deep. Arizona plays to its strength in that regard, like a lot of hitting into the gaps, a lot of turning singles into doubles and turning doubles into triples. Brendan Summerhill hit his sixth triple last night. I believe that leads the nation. So, the key to me to getting to Omaha is to get into that top 8 at the end of the year, which means that everything goes through High Corbett, right? Last year they were I think the 13th seed, I want to say, and they had every opportunity to win that first round, and they didn't. Hopefully that's a good lesson for them if history should repeat itself.
Lev, from my watching college baseball for many years, and frankly, with all honesty, you know more about it than I do. I'm just kind of a passive fan and just a big fan of Arizona. But I always notice in Omaha, the teams that end up winning the title, they have one just dominant pitcher and then a second guy that's pretty good, going to keep you in the game. Does Arizona, if you would say one guy in this pitching staff that could be a dominant pitcher and put the team on his back and win that 1-0 game, do we have that guy?
Well, I would say that in terms of stuff, that Colin McKinney has the most explosive stuff, the most movement. He also has the most walks and the most hit batters so far this season. So, controlling that arsenal is a bit of a challenge, but his ERA is really good. He's battled through some really difficult situations, like loading the bases early in the game and pitching his way out of it. He also has the most experience of the three starters they've used so far, the other two being Owen Kramkowski, who's a sophomore from Walden Grove High School, and then Smith Bailey, who is a freshman from the Phoenix area. I do worry a little bit about those young guys kind of wearing down a little bit at the end of the season. They've never pitched as much as Arizona is going to ask them to pitch. Now, guys don't go 8-9 innings anymore, right? I mean, you're looking to get 5 or 6 innings out of your starting pitcher, and then you're going to the bullpen. And Arizona has a really good and deep bullpen. And I was told coming into the season that the bullpen might be the strength of the team. That's pretty much borne out so far. They also have a lot of different options that they can go to. Guys who are flexible, like Raul Garezar from Rio Rico, pitched last night, pitched 4 innings. He can give you 3 or 4 innings on a weekend. Casey Hintz has pitched anywhere from 3 to 5 innings out of the bullpen. So they might not have that one true ace, but I think they have a lot of different options that they can go to.
Lastly, for us, Lev, yesterday was the first day of spring ball. We saw the Wildcats out there. It felt like a whole new team, lots of new faces. Obviously, they have a lot of new coaches. What was your biggest takeaway from the first day of spring ball?
Yeah, I agree with you. It really did feel like a complete reset out there. So many new players, new coaches, old players with new numbers. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, whenever anyone goes and watches one of the open practices, I think there are 4 of them, 5 of them if you include the spring showcase, the Saturday ones at Arizona Stadium, they will see a completely different offense. Like They have just thrown out whatever they did last year. They are starting from scratch. And frankly, the way the offense performed for most of the season, that was badly needed.
Yep. Damn straight.
Yeah.
Michael Lev, our guy from the Arizona Daily Star, joining us here on ESPN Tucson. Lev, I do have to ask you about Tet McMillan, but I think we'll save that for next week, man. We appreciate you as always for joining us, man. Check out all of Michael Lev's great work on all things Arizona Wildcats on Tucson.com and the Wildcaster app. Lev, have a great one. Thank you for your time, man.
Stop trying to make fetch a thing, Gretchen. I mean, Tet is not a thing. Lev, help me here.
I know.
I agree completely, and we will rid Tet from the world. We'll get rid of it.
All right, Lev. We appreciate you, man.
See you guys. Bye.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Fetch. Stop trying to make fetch a thing.
And by the way, Lev is actually his last name. It's not like
Levinson.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it would be, the same thing, right? But unless he wants to be called, if it's Levinson, it's like, just call me Lev. Cool.
Yeah.
Tet's not a thing. So I'm going to call every reporter that calls him Tet Gretchen. And if you know the movie, you know the movie.
Gretchen.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you'll appreciate me. Pulled out a Fletch reference, or I identified a Fletch reference because we were talking about at Coligar Classic, our guy Rob Myers, who works with the media communications.
Yeah, are you using the whole fist there, Doc?
He was no. He said we were talking about height of a guy, and he said 6'8" with an afro.
Yeah,
I was like, Fletch, and he's like, man, good on you for. I'm like, Ollie will be so proud.
Yeah, Ollie made me watch it once. Yeah,
it's a good movie.
You should watch it.
What he didn't tell about that story was how eagerly he said it.
Yeah.
It was
Is that
like,
Fletch? Is it Fletch? Fletch?
Yeah.
All right, up
Is
next.
that 2 B's or one? Just 1 B. BABAR. That's 2 B's. I know, but not right next to each other.
All right, what the hell did Steve Smith, speaking of Tet, what did Steve Smith say about Tetaroa McMillan? A lot of things out of pocket. We'll talk about that coming up next. All right, so what the hell did Steve Smith say about Arizona wide receiver Tetaroa McMillan? Well,
who knows?
Steve Smith went on this Underdog fantasy show where he's I think it's his podcast, or I don't know what show it is, but it's a part of the Underdog Network. And this is what he had to say about Arizona wide receiver Tetaroa McMillan. Listen to this.
The T-Mac evaluation for me, he's not number one wide receiver. I think he leaves a lot of plays on the field. I don't think he has the ability to dominate like his size is. I think he's a jump ball guy. There were times he lacks the focus to be that impact player if he's not the focal point of the offense. A lot of room for improvement. I don't think he ran fast. I don't think he's going to run dynamic routes. I don't see his route tree being very elaborate. Now, none of these players are finished products. However, this is an evaluation game. Good player, not a great player.
Man,
rub your rhubarb.
It does a little bit because
he certainly had more to say than that the husband guy that called him.
He said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Are you sleeping with my wife? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you know, you know. So for him to say that T-Mac doesn't have an elaborate route tree is complete asinine. Now, if this was 2022, right, I get that assessment. But I think T-Mac showed that he's capable of separating himself from defensive backs. He's capable of lining up in the slot and running shorter routes, catching screen passes, catching the deep ball. Like T-Mac's route tree, if you look at 2023 and 2024, he's as good as it gets out of any wide receiver. And the film that I always kind of look at whenever people say, like, what's that one game that you'll say, show me why T-Mac is wide receiver one? It's not his record game against New Mexico. It's 2023 when Arizona played at Colorado, because that's when Travis Hunter was healthy and played the entire game. Travis Hunter was lined up on him a lot. And if you look at those reps, T-Mac won pretty much every single one of them. Even when like it was an incomplete pass, right? T-Mac, the separation he got on a guy that ended up winning the Heisman Trophy and is going to be a top 3 pick in this year's draft. Look at those reps in 2023 against Travis Hunter. And you're going to sit there and tell me that he doesn't have an elaborate route tree, even making these crazy one-handed catches, getting hit in the back and having taking some big hits from Colorado. Like T-Mac to me has shown that he is that guy. And his big question was his 40 time. And he came out and posted times ranging in the high 4.4s to low 4.5s, which is an indication that he might have a very long NFL career, because the guys who are his size and had similar 40 times, they ended up becoming great NFL players and Hall of Famers.
Yeah, my comp for T-Mac is Mike Evans with Tampa Bay. And just running fast is not what gets you separation. In fact, you got to change speeds. It's your footwork, how you get off the line. The only reason I give any credence to Steve Smith, who I think is a buffoon overall, and not just based on what he just said, and he wears a hat like he's 12 years old. The flat rim hats, if you're a grown man, you need to be ashamed of yourself. But last year is not helping him, the way the offense was constructed and the way the offense was run. I mean, I get it. I mean, our offense was broken last year, and it wasn't set up for on-time passing. So you probably didn't see a lot of that on film. But then again, I don't believe Steve Smith watched any film. I think he watched a 10-minute clip. And, if you look like a buffoon, you wear a hat like a buffoon, and your name is Steve Smith, you are a buffoon.
Damn straight. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, where I'm going to make sure I don't wear a flat-brimmed hat. You're listening to Spears and Ali right here on ESPN Tucson.
Again.